I know. So we are here live. Welcome, Bakin Hash in the morning at a undisclosed location. We are here with Stephan.
Good morning.
Say it again.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to see you. Thank you for tuning in.
Anybody's viewing, Stephan is our resident grower. So if you are at any of the locations and you get some flower, some of it may be from this gentleman here. Today we are just going through got to get to know Stephan. So we want to know a little bit about him. Just tell us a little bit. What got you started? And,
what got me started in growing in specific?
Yeah, in cultivation, career in cultivation.
For sure.
Been doing it for a while.
Necessity. Back in the day, this product was pretty expensive, and you had to have connections to purchase it unless you made your own. So you find a little beaner here and there, and you throw in some dirt and figure out how it works, and find other people who do it and learn your own way.
So you're self-taught.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you have to have there's no degree for this in Wisconsin?
Some of the schools do actually offer continued education. I did go to UW Platteville for a little bit of cannabis education, mostly kind of on the business side of things. But they do offer some courses regarding growing. I know UW-Madison had an extensive extension regarding growing, and particularly cannabis. Unfortunately, I believe that was shut down now.
It was shut down?
I believe so, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. State funding was pulled, and they're no longer studying cannabis at UW-Madison.
So that goes picking up each other's voices a little bit. A mic? Well, maybe you could just go unmute.
I'm muted right now. Is that working?
We're good.
We're good.
Thanks for the feedback. We are working at it. Like I said, we are remote today. So we're doing a little bit of a change. But yeah, that's crazy that they pulled that program.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I think that goes along with everything else that happens in the state regarding cannabis. So far, at least lately, if you guys don't know the news, it's been pretty crazy. I don't want to get into the politics of things. Stephan's a little quiet. Sorry. We got to talk into these mics a little bit now.
Why don't you push that again?
Both of them?
Yeah, it might do. Yeah, now I might not be as quiet. You might be quiet. But we're equally quiet.
How are we doing now, JB?
Yeah, now we're in. How are we doing?
The same. Well, let's just go like this. How about that? Sorry, anybody watching. We're working on some audio issues, but we are still here. Let us know any questions. We were just kind of talking about the program. What'd you say, Madison?
Yeah, you can do that.
You're crisp. He sounds muffled and far away. That's interesting. It's right in the middle. It's right.
It couldn't be any longer.
It can be. Take its hat off. We had a little hat on that thing.
That's the scientific term for it, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, anything else? Have you worked with hemp before? I know that was growing a little bit more in the States.
Not professionally, growing. Did it underground.
So Ryan was talking to me in the back that Wisconsin growing. Tell me a little bit about Wisconsin growing. Like the time frame. It's tough right now. It's winter.
Yeah, it's very tough. So we have limited sunlight, and not only that, you have these cold temperatures. So we don't have the ability to grow all year round. But learning to stay too warmer, have a better climate overall. That's a better zone in order to grow this plant. We're in a zone 5 party zone. These plants are made really good.
Zone 5. What is that?
Within. Obviously, like down south, like Florida, warmer climates, you got your tropical things and palm trees and stuff that grow better because it's warm all year round. Bring a palm tree here, starts to get cold, that thing's gonna die off. It's not hardy enough to live here.
I can't hear you. We're gonna have to turn your mic back on.
Is that better?
We'll take the echo.
We'll take the echo over the nothing.
Yeah.
All right.
Throw it. See if you can put it in your face a little bit more.
Like this?
And then like that. And
Can
then
I get it?
And then I'll run. I'll mute it if I have to on my end. Music is louder.
Music is louder. There's music?
A little background music.
Wow, I get music.
I have a little background.
This is way better, he says. All right. So I'm going to have my co-host, the mic here, for the rest of the duration.
Anybody who just stepped in, we are solving some audio issues, but I think it is good now. I'm just going to work the mute button and talking about a little bit growing in Wisconsin. Tell me one more time about the zones.
Yeah, so there's different zones. There's a zone map, and it indicates the different zones in which you live in, and it's different climates. So, like, obviously, like way down south, like, say, Florida.
You're
Texas.
frozen.
I'm frozen. No, I'm not. I'm not frozen.
Okay, keep going.
Am I back? Am I unfrozen? Am I still?
Someone tell me if Stephen is frozen. If not, I'm going to ask this question from Jessica Berman. Hey, he's frozen.
I'm frozen?
Yeah. So you have to go to the Wi-Fi is probably out again.
No, it's still rocking, isn't it?
All right, so Stephen is frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen. Thank you, but I will answer this while he works out some internet issues. As you know, without fail, there's always something with the streams. How payroll HR services do you use? How do you ensure your company is sufficiently growing? We use a lot of third-party services. I don't want to disclose exactly which ones, but we do have to go around a roundabout way. I know what you get because of some restrictions on just the cannabis industry in general. We are always navigating the waters of banking, insurances, and things like that. So to ensure that the company is sufficiently growing, we are on a continuous search to go around, like find which people are down to work with us in the industry, which is not always the easiest to find. But yeah, that is it. I don't want to disclose too much, but we do struggle and have to face those challenges with a lot of industries, and not just HR and like I'm saying, insurances and banking and all that. So yeah, no, thank you for the question, Jessica. Apparently they can hear you, but your video is frozen. So I'm just going to me, and it is just me. So we will wait until Stephen returns. I guess I can just go on a little bit. What's the difference between seeds and clones? That's the question we got here. We'll wait. He's trying to get back in. But yeah, I guess going back to just industry challenges is just kind of a hot topic right now, because in any space, I would say, in regards to cannabis, and it's just a straight up, to me, prohibition deal. Like, you're just dealing with constant prohibition and people not accepting science and years now of medicinal properties that this plant has. And it just is, like, to me, mind-blowing. I'm sure some people are feeling the same way, that it's just like, why are we dealing with this when we all know that it's a really awesome thing? Jessica, again, do you mind if I message you? I work with a lot of players in the industry. Yeah, that would be great. Shoot me a message. Appreciate you being here. We got Stephen back.
Am I back? Are we good?
I feel like we're good.
I can see me. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, perfect. I think we're back then.
So we're going to go back to
I think I
original-
heard seeds versus clones.
Yeah, seeds versus clones. If we could break that down, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. So seeds are exactly that. They are seeds. You would take it, you would place it into most likely water, or you would germinate the seed in some fashion. That just simply means to have the seed create its taproot or its first root. Once that's done, you can put the seed into essentially a growing medium, whether that be water for hydroponics, perlite, dirt, any medium in which you plan on growing in. From that point forward, it would grow a plant, shoot up leaves and grow out. A clone is when you take a cutling or a cutting off of a individual plant, force that small plant to root and create a new plant. So what you're doing in that essence too is you're extending the lineage or the life of that originating plant. So we do this with our mother plants, is what we call them. We know that they are female plants, so we take cuts off of them. We get them to root and perlite, and then we place them into our ultimate growing medium, whatever that happens to be. So I guess what that means is that at the end of the day, we have one main plant that we use, clone or cut into hundreds of other plants.
When you say cuts from the plant, what is that?
So about the 2 to 3 inch tip of the plant itself. So kind of as it starts to grow, as it does grow, they create branches, right? Just like a tree does, just like any other plant does. You can cut off some of the more fresh flesh of that plant, and you can use different hormones and different chemicals are made to create a rooting point there. And once it's in that solution and moved into a medium, provided you provide it with the right amount of moisture and care for it, it should root out, and you now have a clone or a copy of that original plant.
So I think I was just looking. Did I take a picture of that?
I believe you did take a picture of one of them at least.
I am going to share just a quick. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Can you see that?
Yeah, so those are humidity domes. Those are our clones hanging inside of humidity domes. These clones need to be kept humid. That's why they're in humidity domes. Not that it's just a clever title. So at this point, they've been dipped into a hormone to create a root site where they will then root, provided we keep them in the proper humidity and allow them to do their thing with light and humidity.
What is your preferred? I don't know what to call it, like rooting method. Is it soil, or I know you got some hydroponics back there I was showing. I know there's a video somewhere.
The hydroponics is just kind of test case at this point. It's something that we're just kind of playing with. So right now we're utilizing soil as our growing medium full time.
Is here is just soil.
Correct. Yep. So that's we have our plants in pots. There's soil there in place with notice perlite across.
And we got Ryan in the background there doing some
little water in action there, spraying stuff down, raising the humidity of the greenhouse.
Nice. See, there's actual reason for it. I thought he was just spraying stuff, but
no, there's nothing to our madness.
So I have we're here to ask Stephen some questions. If you have any more, feel free to leave them in the comments. Stephen, I'm going to run off just a few generals.
Please and thank you.
I have some generals that we've collected over the past few days from the people. So your experience with soil-based versus hydroponic cultivation.
What do you mean? What's like, do I have experience?
Do you have an experience? What's your favorite?
I prefer hydroponic over soil. That's just a personal preference. When I did grow underground, I utilized hydroponic as my growing medium. It's a lot easier to open your tap and fill buckets of water than it is to go down to your local hardware store and buy 12 bags of gardening soil in the middle of December. And people are like, hey, what you doing with so much soil in the middle of December? And it's not outside. So it's a lot easier to cover your tracks with a hydroponic solution, I guess. So that's why my favorite is because I'm more comfortable with it. But I've really come to enjoy soil growing, and I'm learning a lot about it. There's a lot of aspects about it that I wasn't familiar with that as I dig into it, I really, really start to enjoy it.
It's just growing indoor tomatoes, sir.
Yeah, it's those tomatoes.
Sarah Grant, what do y'all do to cut down on industrial waste, water waste, etc.?
Yep. So we actually reuse all of our water. Anything that's in my deep water culture, hydroponics, gets saved in barrels. We then either filter or just simply reuse that solution after it's been watered down to what the plants could reuse. Very good question.
Nice.
Yeah.
I always like to cut down on
100%.
waste. I also believe that we are composting.
Correct. Yep. We started composting. We're actually vermicomposting now as well. So that's making worms. We're now growing worms too. So to utilize worm castings in our soil because it's a fantastic nutrient-rich base. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so growing worms, so better soil.
Correct. Yeah. So again, stuff I didn't really know or understand before being involved in the soil portion or the soil aspect of this. And so learning a lot about it and seeing what's advantageous and getting to dabble in all sorts of fun stuff like growing worms.
I understand we use some sort of bugs as well.
Yeah.
We buy little bags of bugs.
Yes, we buy little bags of bugs on the internet, and what they do is they help us control our mite population. So there's a couple of different mites that will attack hemp plants. Two of the most common ones are spider mite and russet mite. I won't get too nerdy in on that because that could be a whole episode on itself.
Yeah.
But we actually purchase predator bugs that we hang satchels of them inside of our houses. And those bugs disperse themselves across our plants and attack those mites in specific. That's kind of what they prefer to eat. So we have an abundance of them. Go ahead and take at it. We'll give them Thanksgiving.
Just starting a little mite war, if you would.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're all about it. This is Sparta after all.
I'm trying to figure out if my mic is on or off right now.
Right now it should be on. I don't see it flashing.
So flashing is off.
Flashing is mute, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was just asking Stephen a question. He's really good at audio too, and
something like that.
Stuff like this.
Yeah.
Strain review today or no? If you must know, we'll take a little break in the questions. Just kind of drilling Stephen. It is on. GMO.
Cookie or Oreo GMO?
Oreo and GMO cross was the strain today.
Yeah.
I don't have the nice little breakdown thing, but I think we've done it in the past already. Just check out the other videos. And I will say I was feeling pretty good, but it's a while ago.
Yeah, unfortunately. We didn't indulge in our tomatoes before we hopped on.
We did not indulge into our tomatoes before we hopped on. It was about an hour ahead of time.
Right.
But it's very good stuff. Can you provide both your name? I want to start calling both if I love this live. Brandon, you can just find us out. I think I'm on the LinkedIn page through the Dispensary. Shout out the Dispensary as well. So this is in partnership with H4H and the Dispensary.
Is it not showing my name? Because I have a pretty unique spelling to my name.
Oh.
And honestly, I mean, yeah.
I guess we can try to get the banner up. Oh, it's because I have the banner. Oh, let me take it down. Boom. There you go.
There it goes.
So today we're just kind of asking some questions of the grower, one of the growers here at H4H. And I think they actually grew the Oreos GMO, right?
Yes, sir. That was one of our products. Yes.
So good effects overall. We were talking about it, mostly hybrid.
Yep. Good little hybrid effect to it.
Nice. So if you're looking for a good hybrid, try to find that one. I'm going to keep going down the list of questions. How do you get the best flowers? And do you have to stress the plants at a certain point to get them to do what you want?
Okay. So how do you get the best flowers? Well, let's start with the latter question. Do you have to stress them? No, you don't have to stress your plants. And that could be a whole nother topic that we delve into between high stress training, low stress training, topping, mainlining. I mean, there's about a million different ways that we can delve into that. We do a little bit of low stress training. I think low stress training is important for any hemp plant. It gives your canopy better visibility to light or better access to light, provides the bigger buds more buds. So yes, we do some light stress training. How do we get the best buds, or what gives us the best buds? That's always evolving and always changing, to be honest with you, because we're always trying to get better. If you're not trying to get better and you're stagnant, then you should find a new job, right? So we're just always trying to get better. We're constantly discovering different ways to get bigger buds, more purple, more orange, more green, whatever we're shooting for in the strain, or what we think the strain profile should look like.
Always improving.
Always
Stress
growing.
training. Gotta hit the gym. It's good.
Lift them weights.
We can go through. So this is a general topics today. We do plan to go more in depth into some of this stuff in the future. So if you hear about it, we're going to keep on trying to grow from that.
Yeah, and keep dropping those questions, because we can always use those to touch on next, you know?
Thank you, Jessica, for being in here and asking. What's the most tedious part to the process, in your opinion?
So I think the average person would answer with trimming, because I don't think a lot of people like trimming. The average person probably doesn't. The reason being is it's a lot of work. When you're sitting in a greenhouse full of flowers and you have to take a pair of scissors to it, it's a little bit of an overwhelming feeling to just be staring at that, knowing that that's the next 14 hours of your life. But I love it. I love the heck out of it. Like any chef, like once you plate your food, that's when it's gold. But this is like plating my food, right? Cutting this down and shearing this down and making it look gorgeous. That's plating my food. So I love it.
I think of it as a art as well for you guys. Like you just kind of like get all of it put together, and at the very end, just like, this is what we got.
Exactly. And it's a good opportunity to zone out for a change and just put in some headphones and just go at it.
Yeah, trimming's cool. As I was saying, I personally can't trim because it's the trichomes or something with the buds that I'm like allergic to it. So heavy smoker, but I think it's just some strains that like really get in my nose and my eyes, and like next thing you know, I'm trimming and I'm just like melting. I'm like struggling to trim, but it's cool to like have the buds.
Nobody likes snot on their buds.
Yeah, I know. So like I'm not the trimmer. So this is what we're saying. Great question. Thank you, Jessica. Why is it so important to choose female plants rather than male plants? Good question.
Yeah, so there isn't even really a choice. Male plants don't create flowers, which is the portion of the plant that we enjoy ingesting. So if it doesn't create what we want from it, it doesn't exist. Now, yes, it does exist. I take that back. We don't want it to exist in our grow house. So there are two different sexes to this plant. There's a male and there's a female. The male will release a pollen that can be absorbed by the female plant, and that's how they get seeds. If the female plant never receives pollen from a male, it shouldn't provide seeds. So when you think about tomatoes back in the day, and there were a lot more seeds in your tomatoes back in the day, they weren't as diligent in removing the male plants from the grow, or they didn't have to do so because they were doing something like guerrilla farming or guerrilla growing in the middle of nowhere. Again, something we can delve into because it's a super fun topic. If you're not already familiar with guerrilla growing,
Guerrilla growing. That just makes me.
Yeah. So
is it a bad?
No. So it's like, again, back in the day when this plant wasn't allowed to be studied, wasn't allowed to be grown at all or cultivated, You would have people that would go into the middle of the woods, the middle of forest, the middle of nowhere, and they would dig up soil. They would amend the soil while they're out there. So they'd have, soil on their backpacks that they would drag out there. They would amend their soil. They would plant seeds out there. They would have to find a way to irrigate that soil so that the plants could grow. And then they just let it rock and come back, 4-8 months later and harvest what they had worked so hard to sow.
You're talking about cannabis.
And tomatoes, yes.
Why would they do this to tomatoes? Why wouldn't they just grow next in a garden?
Tomatoes, but
Shoot! See, I'm missing my own joke.
You're right. Yeah,
tomatoes.
So yeah, that's guerrilla growing. Again, we can delve into that because it's super fun stuff to talk about, but we'll just leave her there for now.
I'm upset I missed that whole thing, but yes, that is yeah, I may have known somebody who's done that.
Right.
Very just check it out, and it's just in the middle of a trail, next to a tree somewhere.
Exactly. Yep. And that was one of the old school ways of doing it. But then you didn't have your ability to go and check it every day to make sure that things were male versus female. You just had to let nature run its course and hope that you didn't ruin an entire crop with a male plant in there.
That is old school stuff.
Yeah.
We got more questions. How do we manage the temperature of the roots?
Of the roots themselves? Yeah. So that also comes back to what we saw the photo of Ryan doing, where he's wetting the concrete and the floor of our house.
I'll take a look
by
at that this afternoon.
placing cold water below or around where these plants are located. That's going to drop the temperature.
I'll take a
And
look
that's
at that
going
door
to
this
keep
afternoon.
those roots in that pot below a temperature that
I don't
might
understand why the bottom.
Additionally, we have heaters in the houses so that we keep it above any temperature that might cause cold damage.
And it is cold.
It is cold. We are in Wisconsin. I hope most of the viewers, but I assume most of the viewers are from here. It's snowy. It's cold.
Ryan was just telling us another grower here. We have there was ice on this fan on the greenhouse. You had to turn it on, and it just ice chunks everywhere.
Yep. Humidity means the fan has to run. It has to exhaust that humidity somehow. It's cold outside. Again, it's going to get frozen up. Stuff is going to get frozen. Got to take a hammer to it and unfreeze it because we got to have that exhaust running. Otherwise, we got stuck humidity in the house or hot air sitting in there. It's just bad news bears. Got to get that cleared out.
So very important stuff. Challenges of growing in Wisconsin.
Precisely. Yep. I mean, that brings us back to, we had kind of asked, what's the differentiation with growing in this area? And yeah, that's it. I mean, we have challenges every day that we have to fight that somebody down in Florida, Indiana, they don't have to deal with that because it's 65 year round.
So I had this question myself. I just want to know because I don't know if there's a ton of growers in Wisconsin. I know there's a lot of outdoor growers that are trying to grow industrial hemp. But in terms of indoor grow struggles, trying to get a high quality flower, high quality tomato,
Right.
What are the biggest challenges? That was my question.
Yeah. I mean, two that we kind of touched on already is really temperature and light. We have to run heaters all through the winter to keep boom, right there. Yeah, we're talking money. So we got to run heaters for 6 to 8 months a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not cheap to do. And then light is always an issue. We only have good light for, half a year, which is really only a couple crop cycles at best. So we have to utilize artificial lighting to make sure that we're providing the best quality product that we can. And even then, there's something else that we can delve into is light spectrums and what this plant needs during its vegetative state versus its flower state, which is something we haven't even talked about. There's a lot to dig into here.
So we're going to keep going down this. Like I said, this is kind of a general thing, but we're going to kind of hit these topics a little more in depth in the future. We got a couple more questions in here. We're already hitting 30 minutes. Don't like going too long. How do you determine when the plants are ready to be transplanted to prevent roots being bound?
So yeah, root mountain. Look at you dropping the big words on us. I like it.
That's
Somebody
Christina
cultivates.
Hogan. Who's that?
So it's really a matter of just knowing the plant well enough and knowing the tools that we have to work with. We have specific sizes of pots that we move the plant into throughout the course of its life. So we know at 8 weeks it's going to be ready to go into a 2.5 gallon. At whatever weeks we know that we can put it into its final largest pot. And that just knowing the plant and knowing the size of those pots and how long it takes the plant to outgrow that, we have the ability of moving it through that cycle pretty well.
Nice. Just got to know your plants.
Yeah, exactly. Know your plants, know the strains you're working with.
I'm just going to throw this in here. Team Rips out of Sheboygan. Thanks for stopping in, guys. Team Rips. We have nothing to rip. Nice, dude. Yes, I'm sure you spend a lot of time with these plants and you get to know them well.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but that's my job, is to learn these plants, know these plants inside and out.
I think Stephen does the best job. I always think that you're out here, it's nice, it's warm in there. Like,
it's, yeah, I mean, people like to think it's just fun and games out here, but it's not. It's hard work, you know. Come out here with a shovel someday. I'll have you mix up some soil, and if you think it's fun after that, then shoot, I'll keep you around just mixing soil.
I've touched on some of all those little jobs, moving those pots and shit. Like,
yeah,
it's a little bit of a workout. But I don't mind a workout sometimes, you know.
Right? You think I stay this skinny because it's fun?
No, this dude's out here working,
right?
Losing calories by the second. I got him to sit down here for a little bit with us. All right, let's throw down. Still got people in here. I mean, I guess I would just throw down a couple more. I know this was asked from Balake. Balake says, as a grower, do you try to recreate or use someone else's technique, or are you just kind of like doing it yourself, and that's scientist style?
Now there are techniques to be followed. When all of this started, there weren't really techniques. I remember something like sea of green being just a method that people talked about on the internet. Sea of green is you saw it in one of the photos that we shared, that you have nets that run across the top of the plant, and then we train the plant. So that's like stress training, which as a whole is a technique that, you know, years and years ago didn't exist. We didn't even really understand that we could train this plant to do these things. Now there's names for these techniques, and there's multitudes of techniques, and there's like subsections of techniques now where there's like different sea of green methods, and there's like even different hydroponics, like a Dutch bucket system is different from a deep water culture, and there's just so many different facets that have now come to fruition from this landscape of growing that there's a lot of different ways to grow this plant, and it's finding what's optimal for the strain and the plant itself to decide what technique to use on it. So when I say learning your plant and learning your strain, that's what you have to do, is figure out those techniques that are optimal for that strain or that plant.
It's crazy that premise goes like throughout cannabis, like even when you use it, like it's just depends on the strain, like in that person, and like
100%
finding the best thing that's like for you. So like
exactly
that premise, I think throughout is just kind of standing throughout everything that we do here. So that's it, man. What keeps you working? We're gonna finish this up. A couple more questions if anybody has them. Is it a lot of trial and error? How do you fight through any failures?
Yeah, of course, there's trial and error. You know, to anything, there is always trial and error unless you're stepping into something that you already know too much about, which I don't think anybody does. We all learn. Yeah, so there's always trial and error. How do you fight through failures? The same way anybody else does. Yeah, screw ups happen. But as long as you learn from it and you don't make that same mistake again, it's not a failure, it's just a learning.
Wise words. Wise words.
And I rub my beard.
What has been your favorite strain, like the best strain you've grown from seed to final product? Like that.
So the best strain that I've grown from seed to product is going to be probably Purple Punch.
Can I ask why?
I love indica strains. I love the purples that come out of that strain in particular. I love that the purple flavor, the terpene that's rendered from that. I love that. So for me, that's kind of my perfect smoke. Just couch blocks me and tastes delicious.
We were just talking about that. You're not a sativa guy.
Correct. Yeah, I can't smoke sativas.
What happens?
I get super paranoid. I'm peeking out my window. I get super anxious. I don't like to drive or even like be near a vehicle. Like no responsibilities. As soon as I touch a sativa, I'm just cashed out. I'm done.
That's a whole other conversation too, that we can go into is the sativa indica, excuse me, that we know like that those terms they're just in the gray area right now.
Yeah.
So we had a kind of a combo about like
differentiations. Are there differentiations between indicas and sativas? Are there actually different effects from that? Does everybody feel that same way?
What does it mean to you?
Right.
So
right, and that comes back again to even like how does the plant affect you?
See, back to the whole.
It always comes.
We're gonna hit on all that in depth in the future. Let's finish up with this last one. What are you most proud of in your career in Canada? Or I'm sorry, tomatoes. I need tomatoes.
Just being here. There's a lot of people that could be here, like doing this, having this opportunity. So that's it. Just being here.
It is pretty awesome
It's
to be
humbling.
here.
Yeah.
To see it grow.
Right.
These guys are putting together an awesome program back here. So appreciate you coming in.
Sure. No, appreciate you having me anytime.
We're going to do more of this in the future. But for now, we're coming up on 40 minutes. We don't like to keep you guys too long. So thanks for sticking with us. And we will see everybody later.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to hit up the actual commercial, though. I want to throw it on the commercial to the people.
Do it.